Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you. I hope that you're having a good Monday and I hope that your week is off to a great start. I was at Chico Hot Springs today with some of my clergy colleagues, and it was just great to be together, to soak, to get to have lunch, and then we did some spiritual reflection and different spiritual discipline activities. And one of the things that my friend and colleague Amy Strader brought to our time at Chico were some Parker Palmer handouts and just different essays from the author Parker Palmer, who I love. And the one that I read this morning, I just felt like was incredibly applicable to my life, but I also just think it's very applicable to the season that we're all in. And so I wanted to read the devotional to you tonight because it talks about the changes in the seasons and what that means in our own lives, the changes of seasons and just death and resurrection, transformation. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says there is a time for everything, right? A time to be born, a time to die, a time to love, a time to hate, a time for peace, a time for war. And so I think that as we experience autumn, we experience beauty and vibrance, but we also experience death and the leaves falling and winter coming, the earth preparing for winter. And it was interesting because I was with my other friend and colleague, Sam Fisher, driving. And as we were driving the 2 hours from Billings to Chico Hot Springs today, I kept looking at the leaves, and some of the leaves were still so beautiful and yellow and vibrant and orange. And then there were a lot of trees that all the leaves had fallen off and it just looked dead, completely dormant, ready for winter to come. And so with the changes of the seasons, I do love how Parker Palmer kind of speaks to how that rings true in our own lives. So I hope that you enjoy this excerpt. Again, Parker Palmer, highly recommend. And I will read it now. Transformation is difficult, so it is good to know that there is comfort as well as challenge in the metaphor of life as a cycle of seasons. Illuminated, we see that we are not alone in the universe. We are participants in the vast communion of being, and if we open ourselves to its guidance, we can learn anew how to live in this great and gracious community of truth. We can and we must, if we want our sciences to be humane, our institutions to be sustaining, our healings to be deep, and our lives to be true. Autumn is a season of great beauty, but it is also a season of decline. The days grow shorter, the light is suffused, the summer's abundance decays towards winter's death. Faced with this inevitable winter, what does nature do in autumn? She scatters the seeds that will bring new growth in the spring, and she scatters them with amazing abandon. In my own experience of autumn, I am rarely aware that seeds are being planted. Instead, my mind is on the fact that the green growth of summer is browning and beginning to die. My delight in the autumn colors is always tinged with a melancholy, a sense of impending loss, that it is only heightened by the beauty all around. I am drawn down by the prospect of death more than I am lifted by the hope of a new life. But as I explore autumn's paradox of dying and seeding, I feel the power of metaphor. In the autumn events of my own experience, I am easily fixated on surface appearances, on the decline of meaning, the decay of relationships, the death of a work. And yet, if I look more deeply, I may see the myriad of possibilities being planted to bear fruit in some season yet to come. In retrospect, I can see in my own life what I could not see at the time, how the job I lost helped me find the work I needed to do, how that road closed sign turned me towards terrain I needed to travel, how losses that felt irredeemable forced me to discern meanings I needed to know. On the surface, it seemed that life was lessening, but silently and lavishly, the seeds of new life were always being sown. This hopeful notion that living is hidden within dying is surely enhanced by the visual glories of autumn. What artist would ever have painted a season of dying with such a vivid palette if nature had not done it first? Does death possess a beauty that we, who fear death, who find it ugly and obscene, just cannot see? How shall we understand autumn's testimony that death and elegance go hand in hand? For me, the words that come closest to answering these questions are the words of Thomas Merton. There is in all visible things a hidden wholeness. In the visible world of nature, a great truth is concealed in plain sight, diminishment and beauty, darkness and light, death and life. They are not opposites. They are held together in the paradox of a hidden wholeness. And so, loved ones, I would ask that you would reflect on these questions tonight, tomorrow, whenever it is you're watching this devotion. Seeds dropped earlier in autumn remain dormant during the winter, and now will begin to wake up, move, stir, and come to life. Other seeds are intentionally planted into the soil either before or after the last frost. So what type of seeds are awakening within you? What does it mean to wake up or come alive? Finally, the question, the courage of the seed is that once cracked, it cracks all the way. In what ways have you cracked all the way? So I love this metaphor that Parker Palmer gives to us, that while sometimes we see death and failure, in loss, in grief, in tragedy, God is doing something, planting seeds, sprinkling seeds that will bring us resurrection and new life in the days and months and years to come. And that is the truth. So the seasons really are a reflection of the cycle of life and resurrection, life, death, and resurrection. So my prayer for all of us, as we notice the trees starting to get more and more naked as the leaves are gone, that we would remember that there are seeds being planted that we will not see cracked open until spring, but they're there. They're there and they're being scattered. And that even though death is upon us in lots of different ways, death does not have the last word. Life and resurrection always has the last word. Blessings to all of you, and I will talk to you later on this week.